So now that the design's done, what we want to do is we want to just basically hook up everything so that it all functions, right? So what we're going to do is we were in design mode. Now we're going to be in prototype mode, okay? So switch over to that, and now we're going to kind of switch gears here. So the first thing we need to do is determine which one is basically the start of our flow. So you want to click on home. You'll notice that all of these have this little home like icon on it. We want to grab the home one and click on that. That's going to be the beginning of flow 1. Now you can actually double click on it and change the name of it and give it something else, but we'll just leave it as flow 1. It just makes things easier. But you can have different flows. So like you start at a different one and it's a different direction of things. Just so you know, when you go to share, you can actually switch. I only have the one, but you could have other ones. Okay, so that's why that's there. So what we're going to do first is, in order to go from one page to the next, I need to have that menu. So I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to this icon, and then we're going to click the little line here. Oh, excuse me. We're going to click this little line here, and then what we're going to do is we are going to set up what the function of it is. Okay, so let's click off, right? These all say 2. Yeah. So we're going to click on this. Come on this. I'm just going to click on the line itself. We want a default state. The interaction is going to be tap. So when you tap on it, and then what I want to do is have it not auto animate, but overlay. And then we have to choose an artboard we want to overlay over top of this. You might already know what it's going to be. It's going to be menu. So then what you'll see is there'll be this little menu here. You're just going to take that and you're going to snap that up like that. Okay, so basically it's going to show up wherever you put this. So I'm going to put this up there. Now, when we hit Control Enter, when we click on this, you'll see that will pop up. And when we click on it again, it will go back. Okay, so that's what we were after. Yay. Let's go ahead and just do that to all of them, so that way they are all set up. Actually, let's not do that yet, because I think we might get that for free, because that is this icon. So we'll see. Anyway, all right. So what I want to do now is we want to basically hook up that when we go to this, that these will link to the different pages. Okay. So let's click on the spotlight. So we're going to just click on spotlight. See this little arrow? You want to just drag it to where you want it to go when you click. In this case, it's going to be this board. Okay. Now you're going to see it uses whatever the last default is. So the last default was overlay. That is in fact not what we want. Okay. So trigger is going to be tapped. That's fine. But I don't want overlay. I just want transition. 90% of the time, that's what you want. It's actually just transition. So just choose transition. That just means that when we click on it, it's going to go there. Select products, hit that arrow, drag over to products. And we don't have to change anything because it's already set up from the last time. Click on this one. And then we're going to click and drag this to the about. Okay. So now let's just go ahead and test that. I'm going to hit Control Enter. We're going to click on this. If I click on Spotlight, that doesn't mean anything really. Click on this, goes to products. But you see, this doesn't work. Wasn't sure if it would work or not. All right, so that's not really working. So now we need to set up the menu so that it's on all of them. So let's go ahead and click on this. And then I'm just going to click on the little thing there, the icon. And then we're just going to do the same thing. Tap, auto animate. We want to go ahead and do overlay. And we're again going to choose the menu and just make sure the menu's at the top. Same thing here. Select this. Okay, default state, tap, auto animate. We want to do overlay again, and also menu. Don't mind my dogs. So let's try that again. So let's go ahead and hit Control Enter. Click on this. Hit products. Great. Click on this. Great. Let's go to About Us. Great. Click on this. And that looks good. Okay. Now what we're going to do is I need to set this one up. So I'm going to click on there. And what we want to do is, again, leave all this the same. We're just doing it on tap. We don't want to use auto animate. I want previous artboard. So basically the idea here is that it will, it'll just basically go back to where we came from. So that could be a handy thing because you could have like a little icon that's just a back arrow. You've seen that on apps, right? Like if you have like Android, it's always the back button. That will always just go back to the previous artboard. So you could set that up, like have a menu item on the bottom that always has a backwards arrow, and it just always goes to the previous one. So that's basically what we set up there. Now, what I do want you to notice as well, I'm just going to select this one. We already have this on video playback, but I just want you to see that there are other options here. So there's like scroll to. So let's say you had like a list of items, like, oh, like I have all my workers here, right? So I have, Linda and Bob and Jean and Tina and Louise, right? I could have those, and that when you click on them, I could make a link that says scroll to, and I could have the whole list down here of scrolling to. I could have like a really long thing, kind of like what I have here, and then that basically would just auto scroll to that area, right? We could do a hyperlink so that when you click on it, it actually opens up a website instead. You can actually do animation. Well, actually, before we get to that, there's obviously video playback, and you can do audio. I had a student once, and they ended up making an app that more or less was like an MP3 player, and they had audio in there, and they just had buttons that you could click on, and it would play different music, which was kind of neat. So, and they could, you could do different music and then have overlays for different art for each one of them, but actually have it all in one thing. You could see how you could start to connect these and do interesting things, right? There is actually some sort of animation. That's what that auto animate thing is. So you can have it that when you click something and you have another artboard that's kind of the same, but you like scale this bigger, and then what it'll do is it'll transition to the other one, and this will actually get larger, which is kind of neat. But I don't want to get too into the weeds with it because I just feel like there's not enough, if we were doing this over like 3 or 4 weeks, I probably would spend a little bit more time on it, but I want to introduce you to it. But really, it's going to be more up to you to explore it. I think for the power that this has, it's relatively user-friendly. Okay. So let's see. Do we have all the bits I think that we need? So let's go ahead and check this real quick. So I click on this. If I click this, goes there. Click on this again. Go to products. That's great. Click on this. If I click back. Yeah, if I go to About Us, that's great. Spotlight. Okay, so basically everything works. Let's go back to Spotlight. This scrolls down, right? We have all the bits in there, right? So it's just a general kind of user interface. If you want to try doing something a little more interesting, a little more fresh, hip, if you will, whatever the kids say today, feel free to do so, all right? So once you are done, you would save it, okay? And then what I want you to do is just give me the Adobe XD file. So one of the things is this is one of their newer programs. And with the newer programs, they're really pushing that Adobe Creative Cloud, right? Software as a service, just like they have games as a service. You can go up here and you go to File, and then you'll see it says Save and Save As. Now, when you do Save As, it's going to automatically go to the cloud. And unlike Photoshop, if you've used Photoshop, from here you can choose like Save to Cloud, Save Local. That's not how this one works. It's actually up here. You have to go File and Save as Local Document. That's going to save it onto your actual computer, okay? And then you will give me this XD file, all right? Now, the other thing you can do as well, just for your own purposes, is you can share this. So if we go to the share, so you can see this isn't part of the flow. See how this doesn't even show up as part of it? You can go to share, and then there are these different options. So there's design review, development, presentation, user testing, customize, okay? So design review, actually, what that's going to do is they're flat. It's like a slideshow. You can't do anything really with it. The one that you actually want to use is, I think it's user testing, and anyone with a link, and then it will create a link. And it's going to give you basically a web link that's live. Now, this can be used for a couple different things. So, for instance, before I said, oh, you can plug in your device up here and click on this button and view it on there, which is very handy because you're trying to make a web or a mobile app. You could create this link and then use that link on your phone, right, or whatever app you're trying to test it on, and then you can then subsequently preview it on there. So if I click on it, you'll see it's going to show up as basically a web app, right? So it says Flow 1, and then here it is. And you can see I can click on this and go to products. I can click on this and go to About Us. And this is something that you could send to your potential clients. Now, what I'm going to end up doing for like the exhibit is I'm going to take all of these, and I'm going to use your Adobe XD, and I'm going to create links with them myself so that we can preview them and show them to your significance and just the general audience. All right. So this is just one of those things that's pretty cool. If you want the embed code, that's kind of cool. Is that an iframe? Is that what's copying? Copy embed code. Yeah, it must be an iframe. And I guess on Behance. Does Adobe own Behance? I don't even know. But anyway, so that's what that's for. It's pretty neat. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. So what I want you to do basically when you get done is try to experiment, go a little bit farther than me. I would like you to have at least 3 pages. Okay, so basically a home page and 2 sub pages, and then it has to have some sort of menu system. You don't have to do it exactly the way that I did it. If you want to go online, there's a lot of tutorials on this program. Feel free to do that. Okay. I guess good luck.